Alright folks, welcome back to the Don's channel. I am the Don Father and I'm now going to be doing a video ranking the AFL's 2020 Indigenous Guernseys from 18 to 1, obviously 18 being my least favourite. Not that I don't like them, I actually like them all, but I'm ranking them from my sort of least favourite to the one I think's the nicest. So before I start on that point, it's purely based on the way it looks, nothing to do with its cultural meanings and the reasons for the design. I fully respect the Indigenous culture in it, so don't get excited by my sort of review of each Guernsey as if I'm being disrespectful, because I'm not. It's purely on what it looks like on the Guernsey, alright? So on that note, we'll start 18th place, which was obviously my least favourite out of all the Guernseys. This is actually a nice top. As I said, they're all nice. It's Hawthorn. Hawthorn always seem to find themselves low on my rankings for Guernseys, regardless if it's just a normal home, the away one, or indeed the Indigenous Guernseys like we're doing just now. I don't know if it's the colouring, it just does something to the Guernsey, but the pattern and the patterning in itself, the design in itself is actually quite nice. It's simple enough, but it must be the colours that's made me just put this down there. This one was designed by Justine Ronberg. Not sure what each thing means, but there is obviously the sort of yellow sort of solitaire type cross coming down from shoulder to waist on either side diagonally, with a centre focal point of a big circle with loads of Indigenous patterning around it, like a boomerang above that, and little plain simple designs at the bottom. As I said, quite simple, quite a nice top at the end of the day, but it finds itself in an 18th spot purely because I'm ranking them. So decent enough Hawthorn Guernsey then. On to 17th then, and it's Carlton. This only just makes it above Hawthorn, and the reason being, it must be the colours. It must be the colours that's not as striking on the eye, or sorry, sort of offensive on the eye as the yellow and brown of the Hawthorn top. As much as I respect the club of Hawthorn and like and I appreciate its past and its supporters and stuff, what I am saying is that the colouring of your Guernsey is never going to be nice to anyone else other than Hawthorn supporters, is it? Carlton then, this one was designed by Tony Wilson. Look, I think they could have done a hell of a lot better in designing an Indigenous Guernsey here. I think they've been pretty, there's been plain and simple, and then there's been that. I don't think there's been as much effort went into it. It possibly could have found itself an 18th spot, and I'm putting it down to colours. I know I'm saying it's based on design, it is based on design, but it's based on design mixed with the colour and the use of colour in the design, and I don't think Carlton's just as offensive on the eye as Hawthorn, but I'm ranking it so low based on the fact that they could have done a hell of a lot more in the design. It's basically a plain white away Carlton Guernsey with like somebody just throwing paint splashing at it like that. I don't know what each thing actually means in terms of the Indigenous creation there. I'm just not in love with the design in itself. So that was 17th. 16th spot then, it would be the biggest rivals of Carlton, Collingwood. Look, people are probably going to say, what are you talking about, Don Father, here? They've done quite... Do you know what actually makes this Guernsey a little bit better than what I am giving it credit for? Regardless of the pattern here that's striking right at the front, obviously in the centre focal point, and the centre white stripe that goes up to about the breast area of the Guernsey, with the pattern going down it, which is quite striking, and of course the animal, like the turtle trail going round that side, and I don't know if that's a snake or something going up the other, so there is little animal incorporations on that, but it's the actual undertone of the Guernsey I actually really do like. They've got flat, like if you look into the black and white stripes, not the main feature ones, just the plain black and white stripes, there's nice patterning going through that as well, so there is quite a lot of detail. It isn't that simple a top, it's just not something I find as attractive as other tops. quite a good design. That one was by Ross Morgan Sr. I actually quite like that Collingwood Guernsey as well, to be honest with you. Would I buy it? Probably not, but that's based on the fact that I wouldn't buy a Collingwood Guernsey, do you know what I mean? But if I was a Collingwood fan, I would probably buy that Indigenous Guernsey, because it is actually a pretty good effort, to be honest with you. And it actually, in that photo there, doesn't do it just as much justice as when you actually see the players wearing it, and that indeed goes for most of these Guernseys. I've seen them, obviously I've got the still shot image here of the Guernsey on its own, but if you actually go on the club pages, the shop pages, and you look at the players wearing it and posing in it, they all look a hell of a lot better on the players than what this still photo does do justice for. So I've kind of used that to rank it as well. I'm just using these images purely for your display purpose only. So that was 16th. 15th spot is the Swans. Look, I like it, right? It is a lot more Indigenous patterning going on than a lot of the other tops, even ones that are above it. They've really bought into the Indigenous round. There's something about that Black Swan, and I know that this represents something in Indigenous culture. It's been explained to me before last year. It hasn't changed from last year to my knowledge. Very, very similar to the one last year anyway. But I've just got to be honest with you, it doesn't do the Guernsey that much favours, that big bold black thing. Just for me personally, I don't personally like that swan sitting as bold as that at the front. I like, however, the Indigenous sort of flowing pattern going round and the sort of rainbow sort of feature there with the fish going through it, the very, very small fish, and obviously it looks like they've got another type of bird up the top on the right hand shoulder of the Guernsey, just above the AFL badge, and of course the Opera House and the swan in the background as well. Look, I like it, I do like it, I've got to be honest with you. The reason why that Swans one, based on the detail alone, they put so much effort and detail into that, it should be higher up. It's that Black Swan that puts it further down the list for me, and as I said, I'm judging it on appearance. So Swans 15th. 14th then, and this is a club again that isn't used to finding itself so far down any list. It's Richmond, it's the Tigers. Look, I like all the Guernseys. Again, this is one of the ones, like, I struggle to find, like, there's a whole load of boomerang stuff going on, there's these feet going down through it. I need to mention Shy Bolton and family, fully respect the Bolton family and Shy the player. Look, they've done what they obviously means something to them in the print, so I'm not dishonouring it by critiquing it. But it's not for me. Like, it's not for me. I don't get the whole boomerang thing going up the side there like that. There's obviously words and names going on. I don't know if it's his family members' names or what. I've not zoomed in to read it. But there's a little bit of writing going on under the black sash, going from obviously shoulder to waist in the typical Richmond fashion. This is their yellow top. They put this one on the away Guernsey, if you like. They made an away Guernsey type Indigenous round jumper. I actually do like the patterning, however. On the top right shoulder and on the bottom left hand side of the waist, it's like the pebble stone, yellow and orange and black, and it's very, very bright and a lot of colour going on there. I like the effort they put there, but basically I'm not too sure about the sash bit. I've got to be brutally honest with you. The feet going down, obviously there's quite a lot of that in the Indigenous markings and drawings all over the place. You'll see the feet, but on the sash it doesn't work for me. It's not really something that jumps out and goes, wow, that is really, really nice there. It's found itself in 14th. It's not an ugly Guernsey by any stretch of the imagination. There's just better. Or in my opinion, there's just ones that I like better. So Richmond 14th. 13th spot then, St Kilda. It's plain, it's Indigenous, but it's a St Kilda jumper. That's why it's lower down the thing. It's just pretty much a St Kilda jumper with a lizard going up it, a little bit of Indigenous print here, a few arrowheads going up the centre of the white part of the tricolour Guernsey, if you like. There is, however, a subtle undertone print on it that I actually do like. There's a checkered one on the red, it's plain on the white from what I can see here, and on the black there's a lot of Indigenous print on the back. So subtle, I actually like that, really, really like that, but that lizard really doesn't do it for me. I mean, and again, it means something, but in terms of the print, it doesn't do something for me. It's just so bold sat there, and it just looks out of place. and that's why it finds itself down there. But I do, however, this one's actually designed by Emily Long, the St Kilda one. I actually like it. Look, I like it, but that lizard bit probably doesn't do the jumper any favours. The print on the jersey itself, the Guernsey, sorry, is, however, very, very nice. And I do like it, but it is just you just go St Kilda Guernsey with a couple of little things stuck on it on first glance, isn't it? There's not a whole lot of pattern, and it's not too bold. Maybe it needed to be a little bit more bolder, I don't know, but it's probably the lizard that's putting me off it a little bit. It's hard to tell, but anyway, St Kilda 13th. 12th spot then, it's the Giants, and again we've got this overwhelming theme of a turtle, like a lizard, and some other animal type thing. The G, however, I really do like. There's not a lot of indigenous print on the rest of the Guernsey. The G is a really, really nice indigenous pattern. Obviously the colours incorporated of the Giants in it, with the sort of orange and the white. There's a bit of brown in there. That's actually quite an attractive G on the Guernsey itself. The animals, however, again, I don't really rate them. I don't rank them really well when I'm doing these. It's not my personal preference. I don't know what other people think. I know it's a representation of indigenous culture, but in terms of the design, I think it overwhelms the Guernsey, and that's what's putting them further down the rankings, as these big bold animal things. I would like the animals incorporated in it, just not overwhelming the Guernsey, and it kind of takes away from the top. It's not for me, so the Giants find themselves in 12th. 11th then, and do you know what? This is a massive faller because it's a Guernsey I absolutely loved last year, and on that note, it's the reason why it finds itself further down. They've not really changed anything from last year, the West Coast. It's DARRYL Bellotti's design. It is a beautiful design. I really, really like the design. It's further down, and it's based on the fact, don't like this Hungry Jacks thing going on up here. It could have been blended in to the eagle feathers a lot better. I love the eagle feathers. I love that centre sort of white pattern in the middle that comes down through the eagle head, with these white sort of stripes going from breast to waist in a sort of curved fashion. That red AFL badge has changed from gold, obviously them being the premiers the year before in 2018. It's now red because Richmond are champions. But look, I love that West Coast Eagles Guernsey. It's further down purely because they haven't really done anything extra to the Guernsey itself other than change the AFL badge, and I'm being critical about the Hungry Jacks thing. I don't like it. It's too overwhelming on that top shoulder. I know clubs, sponsors need represented on the Guernseys before anybody shoot me down and go, what are you talking about? These sponsors have to be there, but they could be blended into the Guernsey a little bit better. Yes, they need to be visible for sponsorship purposes, but they should not, under any circumstances, in my opinion, overwhelm the indigenous pattern, and that's what that Hungry Jacks logo does. Not for me. Anyway, on to 10th spot then. It's the Bulldogs. Look, I'm being quite strict with this here. Nothing much has changed from the Bulldogs from last year. Nathan Patterson has designed this. It is actually quite an nice indigenous print. I love the red, white and blue. I love the Bulldogs Guernsey anyway. Everybody knows that. But I'm being true to my sort of rank structure here, the way I'm doing it, based on design only. Nothing emotional, nothing, no personal club links or whatever. I love the Bulldogs, everybody knows that. I actually like, one major detail I will say is better than all the other Guernseys for the Bulldogs here in the indigenous round, is it's very quick, and they've done a good job of making it more like cartoony. It's funky. It's actually a funky indigenous Guernsey. The fish at the sort of just above the right hand part of the waist there, again, is quite bold. It actually doesn't overwhelm it like other big animals on other the Guernseys. It does kind of flow obviously through that water type feature that they've got going on down there. They put in a couple of footies as well in that part. I do like the pattern and patterning, I don't know if that's a word. I do like the design, sorry. The sponsor in itself at the corner there on the mission isn't overwhelming. The sort of sunshine, rainbow sun thing that they've got going on there on the horizon, what looks like the red outback going on as well. There's loads of detail in that for the Guernsey. It's very, very bold attempt. I like the cartoon style. It just finds itself in 10th spot, middle of the bag nearly for the Bulldogs. And again, I'm putting a lot of that down to the fact that they've never done too many changes for 2020, which I wish they did do, because you can do a hell of a lot of cool patterns with a red, white and blue top, and it would have, for me personally judging it, I would have put it straight up at the top for me. Not number one necessarily, but right up there with my favourites, and it's because they've not really changed too much. It finds itself middle of the bag as well there. But I do, however, like the more cartoony Aboriginal, Indigenous print on it. Really do like it. So, 10th spot, Bulldogs. 9th spot then, and this is where it gets really, really hard to judge. As I said, they're really hard to judge anyway. They're all nice Guernseys. There's none that I would say, ooh. Do you know what I mean? There's none that I'd go, ooh, I'm not wearing that, that's disgusting. There's none that does that. They're all nice. They're all well thought out Guernseys. They're all well thought out designs on them. It's got to be ranked. But this is where it starts to get hard, because this port one is a really nice top. There's a whole lot of boomerangs and feathers and stuff going on in the middle. So it's a plain. There's a lot of Indigenous print on this, but it's a plain and simple one, if that makes sense. They've obviously got the sort of arrow V kind of port fashion there, port style going on there. I can't remember what you call that, but you know what I mean. It's kind of like the arrow heads going down the chest of the port Guernsey. In that, but it's feathers. It's the teal and grey, it looks like it is, instead of silver, with the white and the black backdrop. And it's a plain and simple Indigenous Guernsey, but I really like it. And the reason why, if you were just looking at that in the image, you'd say there's other ones better. But I've seen this on the players and it's really striking. These photos don't necessarily do the Guernsey justice. So I've went through them on the players as well when I've come to the conclusion on this list, with the ones that I could find on people's backs anyway this year. And that is a really, really nice, straightforward, plain and simple Indigenous design, and it's really nice on the players. So Port, Carl Winder-Telfer was the designer of it. He's done a good job, but Port are in 9th. 8th spot then, it's Melbourne. And the reason why it doesn't find its way up higher than this is most of the Indigenous print is around the shoulders and the breast area of the Guernsey. Below that we've just got a whole load of writing. I'm not too sure what it says. It's in names, it's in people. This was designed by Neville Jetta, and do you know what? The colouring on it is just so striking. Really, really striking. I love this. This could have possibly found itself in top spot if there had been a little bit more subtle patterning rather than writing going on in the navy part of the Guernsey. Lower down, see that sort of circular patterning? If it was more subtle, and again, and in the backdrop of the navy, going all round it, going all through it, I reckon that would have been my top pick. And that's down to the striking colours at the very top and the red section of this Guernsey. Really beautiful print going on there. I actually think, if, as I said, that would be by far my favourite Guernsey if it was more of that going on down it. But it's simple, it's plain, it's really nice, but there's just not enough Indigenous print on it for me, and that's why it finds itself in 8th on the thing. 8th. This is, look, you can see like that. It's really, really fine margins it's getting me from middle to top on this, and there's not much between it. So anyway, that was 8th. 7th spot is the Lions. It's a beautiful top. Look, I'm not going to beat about the bush. The reason why it doesn't find itself on top is the yellow collar and sleeves. Shouldn't have done that. They should have went with the navy on that and let that Guernsey just flow. I know they're keeping the Brisbane Lions colour in there, but you've already got it in the Indigenous print. It didn't need the bulge sleeves and colour. It takes away from that, and that XL Express is kind of hideous there, isn't it, on it as well. But the actual Guernsey, just looking at the Guernsey, the night sky kind of flowing down through with a subtle bits of Indigenous print coming through it. The animals, the bat, it's not overbearing the top. The lion, of course, the Brisbane Lions, it's of course going to feature there. Really nice with the print, it's like dots, but also like the Indigenous print as well. Really clever design. But it's kind of like the night sky flowing down into the red dusty outback. Beautiful Guernsey, really, really nice. That was designed by Alan Christensen. Good job, mate. 7th spot, the Lions. 6th spot then, the Gold Coast Suns. And do you know what? I love it. I love it, and I didn't think I would. The Host Plus, again, hideous. It's taken attention away. Said it last year. Do something to blend that in. Surely you can come to some sort of an arrangement with the sponsorship companies for this one Guernsey, for one round, to just make that more subtle, like blend into that Guernsey a little bit better. I like the flow in the background on the red. That sun bit coming round the side with all that colouring, it's just so striking. I like the use of colours, the yellow, the blue, the reds, the blacks, the whites. It's bold. It's bold and it's nice. I really like the top. Of course the GC, that's the Gold Coast logo. Can't really do too much with that. It's a modern twist on a logo, isn't it? It's plain. It's a lot less like a sport logo and more like a kind of a haulage company logo or something, that GC, isn't it? But other than that, the actual print, judging the print, really like that. Something about it just caught my eye, and I thought, I like it. That's why it's found itself quite high up the list, because the striking colours. So 6th spot, Gold Coast Suns. Well done, Suns. Did I say who actually designed that one there? I don't know if I did. That was Luther. CORA has designed that. Of course, you'll see it on your screen anyway. So, 5th spot, the Crows. The Crows. Really love this Guernsey. I honestly do. They've got the crow coming up like that, straight in the centrepiece, with a hand beneath that, and the whole load of the tribal Indigenous print coming down through, with a great use of the Crow's colours, the reds, the yellows, the navies, the whites, blended in beautifully. They've done a magnificent job. There's something about those colours when you put them together with an Indigenous print like that, with that crow, how they've managed to put in that pattern and through it as well. Such amazing detail, but it still catch your eye, like, woof, the colour. Beautiful colouring. Again, my critique on this would be that collar and sleeve area, the bold yellow, it takes it away. I would have liked to have just seen the plain navy, or maybe a little bit Indigenous print going through it as well, just a subtle bit of print going through it, just to kind of take away that big bold ugly look from the collar and sleeves. Really good job, Crows, like it. The hand, not sure what it represents, but it's pretty cool in there as well, and it's not actually overbearing at the hand, it's just sitting in there nice. Not too sure why it's there, but that was Eddie Hawkin. Great job, Eddie. Really like the Guernsey. That was 5th place, Crows. So 4th spot. Look, I got it tight from about 9th spot down. I was starting to get it really tight from port down. This on any other day would probably be number 1. This Essendon one, it's beautiful, it's plain, it's got the red sash coming down, as it so famously represents Essendon. But the sash isn't a bold sash, it's little lines coming down through with the triangles and the circles. I'm not sure what they represent, but it's a tribal print, it's an Indigenous print. And these subtle, really nicely blended red circles coming up through. It's plain, it's smart, it's pretty, it's also striking on the eye with the red sash, but there's nothing in it that goes, I don't like that. Essendon always deliver on their Guernseys. I always think they're really, really nice. That red just jumps out at you, doesn't it? But the Indigenous print in these circles, and there's not too many of them, it's plain, it's simple, and I love what they've done with the red sash as well. Really, really good job. And that one was from, apologies if I've not said the name right, Timaya Cunningham. Not too sure who that is, but really good job there anyway. So that was 4th spot. On to 3rd, North Melbourne. Look, I absolutely love what they've done here. The two-tone blue, they've got the light blue, kind of like sky blue colour, right? With the navy blue and the kind of dark blue. They've got 3 types of blue going on in there, and it just bloody works. I don't know how they've done it. The North obviously is blue and white stripes. They've kind of went with like a flow here rather than a stripe, a plain stripe. It's like seaweedy type flow going through it, with a boomerang in the middle. Oh, I just think it's so nice. with the grey dots coming through like pebbles or stones or sand or whatever it's meant to be in there. They've just done a really good job of blending it and flowing it through with the white, not stripes, but the white flow lines as well coming through, and the sort of centre bit that comes up in that light blue patterning on the navy or the dark blue. It really just jumps out. They've just done so much detail in there, but still managed to look simplified, somehow simple, but loads of detail, but just look nice. It just jumps out. Unbelievable job there. That is Lorraine Kabindi White. Brilliant job, Lorraine. Beautiful Guernsey. Really love that North Guernsey. I would buy that, by the way. Really nice. Second spot then, so I need a drum roll, because as soon as I announce who second spot is, you know who the winner is. So drum roll please. And second spot, it's the Geelong Cats. Unbelievable. On any other day this one would have been number one straight away. I usually don't like Geelong Guernseys that much because they're really quite dull and plain, not very striking, not very nice on the eye. Really brilliant footy club, really good fans of the club as well, great players in the team right now, but there's something about their home Guernsey that's usually not nice, and you cannot say this for the Indigenous Guernsey. Of course, it's got the kind of hoops going across it, which is so synonymous with the Geelong Guernsey, but they've managed to do it in such a way every hoop has got Indigenous print on it. Some are like flowing like that, as if it's a snake winding around it. Others are just flowing like waves. But what is so pretty and really beautiful about this Guernsey is the way it goes from real dark blue all the way down as it jumps down past the white hoops, which are all pretty similar across all the way until they get down. They start to get lighter and lighter and lighter, and see that brighter part of the blue at the bottom. It just strikes your eye like that there. It's just, it's like night. It's just like night turning into light as it goes down. Oh, looking at the water, the flow, wow, I really like this Guernsey. Geelong Cats, second spot, and that's Quentin Narkle. Well done, young fella. Really cracking Guernsey. Beautiful job. Second spot, and of course, that means the winner of the 2020 Indigenous Guernsey, as ranked by the Donfather of the Don's channel, is the Fremantle Dockers. Wow, I love this Guernsey. You are going to look at this photo and go, there's other ones that are nicer maybe, but you need to see the shine of this Guernsey when it's more on sunny waters. Go and look at the Frio page, go and look at AFL posts based on this Indigenous Sir Doug Nicholls round Guernsey, and look at the shine of this Guernsey. This picture nowhere near does this Guernsey justice. It's even better on the person. This one was designed by Anthony Grover, Nicole King and Alicia King. Well done, by the way. There's just, look, it's just been, there's just enough. It's not overbearing. There's boldness in this. There's colour in this. You know it's the Dockers Guernsey with the three sort of white arrowheads coming down it. Boom, 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 boom. The middle bit's the purple. I don't know what that is, so I'm not going to name it. The Indigenous artefact that's in the middle and is represented there. The colouring and the patterning up here on the shoulder. The colouring coming down through the arrowheads of that are so famous with the Frio Guernsey, but that flow at the bottom with the arrows pointing that way, flowing with the water, with the round purple circular like fisheye type things. I don't know what they are, but it is just so bold and striking. The colour is beautiful, and I do not usually like purple Guernseys that much. Not purple Guernseys, purple sports tops. Not Guernsey, because that would be me attacking Frio. That's not what I'm doing. Don't usually like purple sports tops, but in this Indigenous round Guernsey, it is by far the nicest Guernsey in my opinion that there is. What a job, by the way. I don't need to describe it. Just look at it. Brilliant job, Frio. You are the Don's Channel Indigenous Round Guernsey champions of 2020. Well done, Anthony Grover, Nicole King and Alicia King are the Fremantle Dockers designers. Beautiful stuff. The only tiny critique I'm giving that again is the sponsor. I'm not even going to do that to them because they've just made it so bold, so plain, but yet with loads of detail as well, and that beautiful shiny purple colouring going through it as well. Oh, fantastic design. So there you have it. There's 2020 Indigenous Guernsey round, ranked 18 to 1 in 2020 by me, the Don Father. Let me know in the comment section what you think, what your favourites were, from bottom to top, whatever way you want to do it. Or if you just want to tell me what one you think's your favourite, let me know. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I'm open to your opinions. I want to hear them. But ultimately, what I will say is, do not forget to subscribe to this channel. There's going to be loads of Australian content. Even if you're not an AFL fan, I'm going to ramp up my Australian content as well as my AFL content, because I have got a lot of Aussies that don't follow the footy. So I'm going to be doing that. Subscribe. Put the bell on so you don't miss any of the uploads, and also a few thumbs up and comments really do help the channel. If you have been following the channel for a while, or if you do like the channel from what you've seen so far and you want to help and support the channel, you can check out our Patreon in the description section below. Become a patron and check out the different tiers, what they get you. And there, if you don't want to do that, you can't commit to something monthly, but you'd like to donate a small amount, we've got a donation page as well. It's called Donate, Get Us to Us. All of that's going to be there. Also in the description section below, you'll see our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Follow us there as well. I have got an AFL Don Fathers group, the Don Fathers AFL group page on Facebook. Join that bit of footy talk every day. Loads of different things, whatever's happening, you'll be able to do that there. On Facebook. Also my merchandise, all of the links to that is below too. Thanks very much everyone, that was really enjoyable doing it just for a bit of fun. As I said, fully respect what each Guernsey represents to its different Indigenous communities. That was purely a little bit of fun, and ranking it based on design alone. So thanks very much everyone, and I'll see you all soon. Goodbye.